Tariff chaos continues. Rabid judges and the real emergency in this country. The Newsom Medicaid scam. This is Dr. David D. Shine for Saving America with my own take on key stories from this past week focused on politics and business. And the current international roller coaster is keeping us very busy. Israel begins bombing when Hamas fails to negotiate. Deaths are reported, but that does not really tell the story. Of course, deaths are anticipated. After the atrocities on October 7th against innocent civilians, which included Arabs and Jews, Hamas and their cronies deserve no quarter. After seeing the crowd celebrating as caskets of babies and their mother were surrendered to Red Cross a few weeks ago, how can we express any sympathy for them? Hamas has refused to negotiate in good faith, which is why the war started again. In turn, Hamas threatens to kill the rest of the hostages. They admit 30 of the roughly 50 are dead, but more importantly, if they do kill the last few who are alive, they will be exterminated without quarter. The hostages are the only thing protecting them. This incredibly sad situation has produced more of the international community agreeing that there cannot be any resolution that continues with Hamas in place. Also in the Middle East, the U.S. has finally begun bombing the Houthi rebels in Yemen. Hopefully, the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden will be open again. Trump has warned Iran to keep out of it. Iran made a stupid response. They forget that Demented Joe is no longer president. I'm getting a little tired of that failed regime shooting the bird at the U.S. Maybe time to bomb the rest of their nuclear facilities. Trump in discussions with Putin and Zelensky about ending the war. While off to a slow start, there is still a lot of fighting going on. There might finally be a resolution here. I do not expect anything to be easy. Further, given the gains Russia has made, I do not see Ukraine having much positive out of the deal other than existence. With the minerals deal and statements from Europe, especially England and France, I think Putin knows he has done about as much damage as he can do. His face saving is that Ukraine will not be in NATO, but with guarantees from Trump and Europe, I don't think that country will need NATO. Tariff chaos continues. There's no resolution to the mess related to discussion of tariffs. While Trump's approach may bear fruit, I would have preferred a much more reasoned and careful approach, especially with Canada. Regarding our northern neighbors, I certainly do not expect them to ever become a state. I do expect a comprehensive tariff deal with Canada within 60 days. I also expect a parallel deal with Mexico in about the same time frame. Both our neighbors need a continuing deal with this country. They're dependent financially on doing business with the United States, so a lot of their response to the tariff issue has been a bluff. I laughed when French Prime Minister François Bayrou said the retaliatory tariff on U.S. bourbon was probably a mistake. Hey, you think? Trump has promised a 200% tariff on European wines and other alcohol. My assumption is that this will fold by mid-April and further that a comprehensive deal on tariffs with the greedy fools in Europe will be done within 6 months. I also want to see everything possible done to stop Americans from buying anything from Red China. I feel dirty every time I buy a new product and it says made in China. The Chicoms cannot take over the world without the world sending them money for products. First, computer chips and medicines, out. Next, highly capital-intensive products. America can make capital-intensive products. Third, consumer products can come later, and there's already a lot of competition in that field. There are countries like Vietnam and Bangladesh that are dying to have more business. Biden auto pen scandal. The latest scandal is the accelerating reports that Biden signed a bunch of executive orders, and specifically those controversial pardons late in his administration via an auto pen. That in itself is not that big a deal. The obvious question is that given his level of dementia, did he personally and knowingly authorize each and every presidential action? My personal opinion is that he did not. Probably not even close. However, as an attorney, I want to see the proof. The celebration in the Trump administration is their hope that if the pardons were not properly authorized, those who were pardoned are not really pardoned. This could be really interesting. Rabid judges and the real emergency in this country. Generally, federal district court judges function in a specific geography. The issue of jurisdiction beyond those geographic boundaries is not a clear legal issue. Speaking as an attorney with over 45 years of experience and having tried cases, most of them in federal court, we always assumed that the judge's geographic coverage was also limited. Further, while the federal courts do act as a check on the other two branches of government, there is also the fact that there are many things that the government does, especially the executive branch, that are not subject to court review. The scumball Dems have been shopping for judges who were appointed by Obama and Biden to try, in my opinion, illegally block many of the actions of the Trump administration. Perhaps the most egregious of these acts was Judge James Boasberg's attempt to turn around planes already in international airspace. These two planes were to bring TDA terrorists to prison in El Salvador. The case was filed by the anti-American and wrongly named American Civil Liberties Union. They had a purpose about 1930, not so much anymore. The administration relied on the Alien Enemies Act over 200 years ago that was passed for the deportation to a foreign prison. In my legal and personal opinion, Boasberg should be impeached just for this one act. That is how egregious that I feel this ruling is. Another dumb judge ordered a prison to violate a Trump executive order and return males to a woman's prison and to give them hormone treatments at taxpayer expense. If these guys wanted to claim to transition, they should not have committed crimes deserving prison time. I have no patience for this. If you have male parts, you go to a men's prison. If you need to be in solitary, you can do it at the men's prison. Hey, you are a criminal. Why should we taxpayers do anything special for you? Regarding the rash of district-level judges attacking presidential orders, I note one pundit referred to them as the 677 presidents. This cannot continue. I am further distressed that Chief Justice Roberts opined that the Boasberg ruling did not qualify for impeachment. Trump continues to roll back Biden's executive orders. Right after his inauguration, Trump canceled 80 Biden executive orders. This week, he added another 19 Biden executive orders to the trash heap of history. A number of these orders in the second batch were giveaways to the unions and hurt the non-union working class. Idiot Dems supported by slopstream media claim that Trump is killing Social Security. Contrary to the loud claims, Trump is not trashing Social Security. The Social Security Administration put in a security measure that requires active account holders to change their bank deposit information only online. The SSA also said that this is the only phone service cut and all other services by phone will continue. Some local offices will also be closed to save money. Remember that both parties have looted the Social Security Trust Fund and that some type of cuts are required to get past the 2030 projected crash in this program. Trump and his administration have repeatedly assured the public that there will be no cuts to actual payments of Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. Voice of America, also known as VOA, ends $50 million in contracts. I support the work of Voice of America, bringing American concepts to third world countries to help combat the spread of communism and other terrorist forces. However, America must start being smart with every penny. The Voice of America announced that it was terminating contracts with AP, Reuters, Agence France-Presse to save $53 million. I did not realize that it was paying so much to agencies that do not fully support American values. Carrie Lake, the pending head of VOA, reportedly made the decision as a consultant to that agency. The Newsom Medicaid scam. I'm already on record as asking the Trump administration to deny any federal fire assistance due to the LA fires, since we should not help out such a failed administration. Why should the rest of us overtax folks bail out such waste? Now the fool California Governor Newsom is asking the feds to bail out Medicaid there after he threw nearly $10 billion in aid to illegals in the state. In what universe is this a rational thing for California to request of the rest of us? While we're at it, time to end the billions of dollars that loser, the famed California bullet train to nowhere. If it is such a good idea, Californians should pay for it themselves. Important scam alert. This is sort of personal. Some friends of mine have received bogus texts, and now I have received one. The FBI has warned all mobile phone users that there are scammers out there doing what are called smishing messages, which combines SMS and phishing. So sort of like a bogus email, but a text instead. The FBI says more than 10,000 scammer sites have been set up to harvest unsuspecting recipients' bank and financial information. The scam text initially said the receiving person was overdue in tolls and needed to pay that amount, often small, immediately. This happened to two friends of mine, and I just received one in the last few days. Funny, since I do not have a toll tag, nor do I use toll roads. Now, some of the texts are also claiming to have deliveries. Note that due to certain security blocks by the phone service providers, the new instructions tell the recipient of the text to copy the URL into a browser rather than hit it directly. Often the URL will look sort of legit, but have extra characters upon a more careful review. As many of my audience know, I'm a staunch supporter of the death penalty. Perhaps if a few of these scammers are caught and pay the ultimate penalty, the others will get the message. Just a suggestion, folks. SpaceX crew docked with the International Space Station and brought back the two stranded astronauts and two others. While the whack left is going after Elon Musk for trying to save America, his SpaceX company has continued to boogie along. A SpaceX rocket took off for the International Space Station and got the job done by bringing back two astronauts who were stranded when their Boeing-made rocket had mechanical problems 9 months ago. I note that Demented Joe likely could have asked SpaceX to do this rescue earlier, but may have refrained since Musk began helping Trump with his campaign last summer. This is Dr. David D. Shine. Thanks for joining me for this special edition of Saving America. Remember, a new Saving America show is aired on the Brushwood Media Network every Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Listen on any of the 16 network stations, Apple or Google mobile app, Apple CarPlay, TuneIn, Smart Speaker, and all smart TVs. Find more information at the brushwoodmedianetwork.com. Please be sure to join us each week. We welcome and love your feedback from our growing audience.